Welcome to Nightique. I'm Edward St. Pé. Well, we've archived on our website, nightique.com, many of the great artists that we've interviewed and had perform on our show in recent weeks. We've got Miss Nellie Mack there, we've got Mr. Sip, and of course, Mr. Bobby Rush is on there too, along with others. Chris Gill has been here recently. Raphael Sims is here with us taping a performance. Now, tonight's show, we bring you our first gospel artist from Malaco Records, a record executive from Malaco, and an artist in his own right. That's Mr. Darrell Luster. He's got a Christmas song, and we'll talk to him after these words. Well, tonight, Darrell Luster, who's the director of programming, gospel programming for Malaco Records, is with us.
Pleasure.
And it's my pleasure, Darrell. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. You know, Malaco Records is a legendary gospel and blues record label here in Jackson, and you've sold products all over the world for many, many years, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we've been around for a long time. Grew up on Malaco. I'm honored to be a part of it now, because back in the day it was like the Motown, you know, for me coming up. And interestingly enough, I didn't even know that they did blues. I came along in the gospel era with like the Jackson Southerners, the Soul Stirrers, and people like that. And then later on, I saw an album and I said, Johnny Taylor, what in the world is this? Denise LaSalle, and I was like, they doing something else. I was kind of offended, you know, but I'm glad to be they're a giant in the industry still today.
And aside from being in the management side, the director of gospel programming, you are also an artist.
Yes.
And probably that's your first love, I would think.
That will always be my first love. Singing and performing in front of audiences and having that little few 15 minutes of fame or whatever is always exciting to me. So this part of the industry of producing groups and writing and things like that, they kind of come secondary. First, I love stage.
So, all right, tell us a little bit about your background. Did you grow up nearby?
No, born and raised in Durham, North Carolina, the youngest of.
So you must be a Carolina Panther fan.
You know what? Not in the football era. I go to the college. You know, I deal with college. I don't deal with professional anymore. Anyway, so I'm now that I live in Mississippi, I'm an Ole Miss fan. Mm-hmm. I guess that's okay.
Well, I'm a Saints fan. That's why I was asking, because Carolina's in our division, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it's like one of our main number one.
Well, I'm proud of Carolina because they're an expansion team, and when they first came in, they he went straight to Super Bowl, and I was very proud of him. But I just kind of deal with college more than I do with professional now.
So okay, you evolved from an artist also into the management side.
Yes.
And so how does one do that? What's the process? Because many artists don't evolve that direction, but you have.
I had a great interest for the business side of this. And when I was 12 years old, I tell this story a lot. I walked to the library downtown Durham, North Carolina, and got a book called This Business of Music. I was very interested in not just the singing, not just the guitar playing or things like that, but I wanted to know the business. What was publishing, what was copyright, percentages, and all this kind of stuff. And I did that. I studied that, and I found out that a lot of my heroes didn't have a clue about what this was all about, and so they did this for years and didn't know anything about the business. So I started producing, started writing, and just got into the business. Loved it. Got bit by the music business bug. There's a music business bug out there that will bite you.
And so you're on both sides of the coin.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, that is funny because sometimes wearing a lot of hats, artist hat, producer hat, executive hat, publisher's hat sometimes, and so there are times that I have to take off that hat and say, well, an artist wouldn't do this, producer wouldn't do this, and so you have to be able to take those hats off and put them back on.
Okay, so artist, director of gospel programming for Malico Records. If you would give some advice to a young artist out there who is entering the business, whether as a musician, a singer, or maybe they're interested in the business side, after all these years of being in the business, I'm not going to ask you how long, but I know you're a professional, you've been in it for a while. How long have you been in it?
February, depending upon when this shows, will be 33 years.
Oh, I knew it was going to be. I knew you were going to throw something strong out there like that. What's the advice for a young person?
The business has changed so much, Edward. I mean, it's changed so much. It used to be a time when you put out a record and if it was great, if it was a great record, hit overnight. But now the radio stations get 300 CDs a day. From each and everybody, and they can't get to all of the music. And so a lot of times in my opinion, they miss a lot of good songs. So it's hard. The advice would be a hard-working artist that wants to get out there. Don't worry about the radio so much. Get out there and work, hustle. Even as a record executive, I'm in the office every week, but on the weekends, I'm out there pounding the pavement, taking off that executive hat and saying I'm an artist and I'm trying to sell 30 CDs tonight. That's where I am.
Now the record business is changing, and we all know that. It's moving into a download situation,
Yeah.
and I guess it already has done that to a great extent. How has that impacted the record business that you're in, Malico Records, for example, as far as your distribution and how people buy records today?
The music business, as I said earlier, has changed a whole lot. The way that it's affecting us, I think a little bit more, is because traditional music, when you talk about blues, when you talk about traditional gospel, that's targeting an older audience as opposed to your teenagers. And so digital downloads has kind of went over their heads, So if you look at somebody that comes out to a concert and enjoys a legendary group like the Jackson Souvenairs, you don't expect them to look on their phone and say, I'm going to download that song on iTunes. So we don't have as many outlets for CDs anymore. All of your one-stops are gone. So that does make it extremely hard. But Malico, being a very smart company, still has a catalog. We have probably the largest catalog in the business of gospel music, blues, DVDs, everything, and we still send out hundreds of thousands of catalogs to people on our mailing list every year. So we've got ways of kind of getting around things.
Yeah. So the future of music, what do you see happening?
The future is everything's going to be up there. And we have a extremely large warehouse, and unfortunately, anybody that probably works in the warehouse 10 or 15 years from now will not be working there because it will not be physical product. Mm-hmm. I guess you'll still find somebody that still want a CD or whatever.
Well, here's an example of what happened to me the other day. I ordered a record from Amazon, a CD, physical CD. Mm-hmm. Now that was my plan, to get the CD. Well, after I ordered the CD from Amazon, I noticed that I had an app that downloaded to my phone. And the app was called Amazon Music, and inside the app was that album and every other album I had ever purchased from Amazon.
Wow.
It was like an iTunes type thing, but it was Amazon's version. So I clicked on it, and sure enough, there's the whole album, there. And I listened to that more than I listened to the CD. The CD came, and it was kind of an afterthought. I mean, I might plug it in every now and then, but the phone's always with me.
Always.
Isn't that the truth?
Well, and the thing is there's a guy that bought my CD one Sunday after I did a concert at a church, and he came into the restaurant. He said, "I bought your CD," and I didn't remember him coming by the table. And he said, "No, I bought it on iTunes." And he said, "The reason why I do that is because it's automatically on my phone. Then when I get in the car, it's paired in my car, so I can listen to it in the car, and it's also on whatever it is that he has at home." So
It's like in the cloud.
yeah,
Right.
so I mean, it's everything. So you got got it wherever you want, wherever you're gonna be.
It's the truth. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's an interesting
That's the world.
phenomenon. What has occurred?
Yeah.
And I guess it all
I mean,
started.
you and I, and we talked a little bit before the show about albums.
Albums.
Literal albums. The things that we call wax, 33 and a third LP, and which my daughter, when she was a baby, she said, "Daddy, look at the big CD," when she saw an album. Because. But that was the thing that we had back in the day, and we studied the album cover. We looked at everything on the back, and
Well,
and
it was fun to do.
Yeah, so
kind of like a collector's piece. I mean, in a way, a physical product.
Yeah.
And and people would look forward to it too. To be able to examine the album cover, the
Exactly.
artwork, everything.
Exactly.
Back in the day, I guess
Yeah.
you could say, right?
Yeah,
But,
so no more.
Man, I tell you,
I learned about the business because of albums, because I would always look at the back of an album and say, for instance, Malaco, I would look at and I would say, I guess that's the songwriter, because the songwriter information would be there,
Right.
and then there would be something down there under that, which would be the publisher information, would maybe say BMI, ASCAP, or CZAC, and I would say, that's what made me want to find out what that meant.
what that meant, yeah.
And
I think that's so smart. I mean, because so many artists, historically, we've got a long list of artists who, well, they never cared much about the business side, And so, historically, back in the old days, there are folks like Little Richard who's come out and he's not been happy about some of the things that have occurred career-wise as a result of, doing deals that he wished he had not done.
Right.
Whatever. But and we hear about that from time to time,
Yeah.
with-
Well, I think everybody. I mean, I think it was a deal that if you can go on stage and sing to 5,000 people, you were a star. So nobody cared about that the record company was probably becoming billionaires, and you never knew anything about what was going on. They didn't care, because that was their goal, to get on stage and sing to 5,000 people.
Right. Now, you're going to sing for us tonight, right?
Sure, I'll sing for
Okay,
you.
well, let's go to a break. We'll be right back. We're going to come back and meet Darrell Luster in performance here with us. We'll be right back.
You belong here. You belong here. Take my hand and share this land. You see that you belong here. You belong
So, gospel music and Christmas, they seem to go together, don't they?
Yes.
It's a holy time.
Yeah, Christmas means Christ, and you talk about the birth of Christ, and that's what this is actually all supposed to be about, is Christ being born to save the world.
Now, the Christmas song you're going to sing tonight, tell us about that song.
It's a song I wrote called "This Time of the Year." It talks about the things that go on this time of the year, the things that we generally get hung up on, the lights, the mistletoe, the decorations and things. Then at the end of the song, of course, you'll hear me say, "Don't forget to tell the boys and girls why he really came into this world."
And so, this is a song that you wrote.
Yes.
And so, is this a brand new song, or have you?
Brand new, right off the press. In fact, I brought you a CD. I'll get you one.
So now, all right, this CD. Tell us about the CD and where it's available and all that.
Radio announcers for years always contact me and say we don't ever have enough Christmas music. and definitely not traditional Christmas music. And so I've been on my artist for about 5 years. Let's everybody do a Christmas song, and every year would go by, no Christmas song. Nobody, you know.
And you're asking for original Christmas songs or renditions of old songs?
Actually, I asked for one original and one traditional, and then we could have probably had a project of about 12, 15, 18 songs, or maybe even 2 Christmas projects, but I didn't get the cooperation that I needed. So at the last minute, I'm like, come on, y'all, give me this. And I came up with 9 different artists on a compilation CD. And so we have it's available on iTunes and also at Malico.com. And so it's called A Malico Christmas.
Yeah. And this is a new record?
Brand spanking new.
And these are new songs?
All original, brand new.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's great. Well, okay. We're going to go to a short break, and we're going to come back, and we'll have everything set up for you to perform.
I'm ready.
Okay, Darrell Luster. We'll be right back after this.
At Carter Jewelers, all permanently marked down jewelry is now 50 to 70% off. We purchase Cartier type quality diamond jewelry from a company changing their brand name. We're selling this jewelry at closeout prices.
I have built a lot of diamond jewelry with better quality and prices than 90% national brand, with 1 carat start at $1,000.
Neptune cultured pearls now 60% off. Whole case of diamond jewelry under $200 with a regional selection of jewelry including Pandora.
Christmas lights in every square this time of the year. Shopping sprees are everywhere this time of the year. Everybody's buying toys to give to every girl and boy. It all happens this time of the year. Halls are decked with boughs of holly this time. Yeah, it's the season to be jolly this time of the year. People traveling to and fro, hanging lights and mistletoe. It all happens this time of the year. And oh, this time there's a smile on every face. Stockings hung neatly over the fireplace. Every heart seems to be filled with cheer, and it all happens this time of the year. And oh yeah, there's lots of talk of Santa Claus this time. Yeah, children all standing on this time of the year. Make sure you tell the boys and girls just why he came into this world many years ago this time of the year. And oh, this time there's a smile on everyone's face. Stockings hung neatly over the fireplace. Every heart seems to be somewhat filled with cheer, and And it all happened when? This time of the year. And oh, this time there's a smile on everyone's face. Stockings hung neatly over the fireplace. Every heart seems to be filled with cheer. And it all happened this time of the year. And oh, families will be traveling from both far and near. And it all happened this time of the year. And oh, children will be listening for Santa and his reindeer. And it all happened this time of the year. Yeah.
At Carter Jewelers, all permanently marked down jewelry is now 50 to 70% off. We purchase Cartier-type quality diamond jewelry from a company changing their brand name. We're selling this jewelry at closeout prices.
I have built a lot of diamond jewelry with better quality and prices than 90% national brand, with 1 carat start at $1,000.
Neptune cultured pearls now 60% off. Whole case of diamond jewelry under $200 with a regional selection of jewelry including Pandora.
Well, that was a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And it's true. I mean, everything you were saying that we're talking about is very true, and we have to remember the meaning of Christmas, right?
That's correct. That's correct. In fact, I brought you that Christmas CD. It's Merry Christmas from the Malaco Music Group.
From Malaco. Malaco's got such great artists through the years. I mean, you could put a compilation together, it would be a knockout, right? And this is available right now?
That's available right now on iTunes and also www.malaco.com.
Malaco.com. We've been talking about the future of music and how it's changed so much, and you've given us some advice, for young folks out there. Is it a good time for a person to be thinking about going into the music business with all the changes that are occurring out there? Is it a good time for a young person to be thinking about making a life as an artist?
The artist, I think, will always do well because people will always love music, regardless of whether it's gospel, blues, whatever it is. They will love it, and you will be able to do okay doing concerts. If you're talking about starting a record company, I would probably say no, don't do that. And then really study the changes that it's making, distribution, things like that. You really got to think about it. You got a lot of conglomerate and stations that they own 40 stations, and they tell all their stations that we're going to play this music and this is the way it is, and so then you get locked out some. But if you're singing, if you're traveling, you can do well.
And I guess if you're passionate about it, you don't really have much of a choice anyway, as far as being an artist.
Well,
you're going to want to do it from the heart anyway.
I'm not going to throw up my hands and give up. I've come too far now, so I'm going to keep doing it. So we just got to find the best ways to do what we're doing.
What about your career as a gospel artist? Where are you heading in the years to come? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, I want to reach more people, and that goes along with what we're doing now, reaching people overseas because of the internet, because of television, and the more that we can do, meet, and I believe in everywhere you go, meeting somebody else. If I come to a concert for you, there's somebody else that was there that never saw me before, and they'll say, well, Darrell, can you come to Birmingham? Sure, and that's how it goes for me, networking.
Well, right now, Nightique, this program is on in Jackson on JSU TV, which is Comcast 14, and we're on at 6:30 and at 10 p.m. Monday through Friday nights.
That's
but we
great.
joined up recently with the CW in Hattiesburg and also the Cozy TV in Meridian. and we're hoping to have it around the rest of the state too. But you know, the interesting thing, Darrell, we are archiving all the shows on the internet on the Nightique.com, and we didn't realize it, but we looked the other day to see who's been watching the shows, because we're trying to archive all the shows. We are getting hits from all over the world.
That's great.
From many places in Europe, along with Hong Kong and just many countries, maybe 10 different countries we're getting hits from. So it's really remarkable. I attribute that to the fact that we've tried to have the indigenous music of Mississippi on the site, you know, and on this show, blues generally. Now you're the first gospel artist on, and I have a feeling that once we start getting that word out, that we're going to have a lot more hits with the gospel too, because you have a worldwide fan base.
Well, Malaco Records is gospel music, and I'm going to promote it all on my Facebook page and Twitter and Instagram and everything else. But Malaco is quartet capital of the world. We've got all the quartets in the world. We've got all the choirs, and so I'm thinking now we probably need to bring some of the Mississippi Mass over here, you know, and they're from Mississippi, and that's, you know, from the state, and so we're going to work together and support one another, and we'll get there all together.
Yeah, you know, it's our greatest export music, you know.
Yeah.
From this part of the world. A lot of times people right here in Jackson don't even know the artist.
Crosses barriers. I've been to Austria, Belgium, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Switzerland, Monte Carlo, all over Europe, all over the world, doing this music.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, as we start networking, people will be able to see this, your show. Your show is going to help me. My show hopefully is going to help you.
Yeah.
You know.
And through the miracle of the internet, anybody can see it at any time. Just push a button, right?
Exactly.
It's true. Well, Darrell, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
It's
for
been a
having me.
great
Love to
pleasure
come back.
to meet you and have you here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Darrell Luster from Malaco Records. Thank you for being with us on this edition of Nightique. See you next time.